Awesome. Here we go. 15/15 live stream. This is me, Sharp. I'm going to be working on week 11's retrospective, which has kind of been in the works for way too long. But yeah, I'm just going to be here working on the project, here to answer questions in case anybody has anything. Gonna rewatch what's going on. Oh.
Kinds of bendy, flexible shapes. This was my first time using the Spline IK on a project, and I think it turned out pretty well, even though you can't really see much of it in the shop. Probably the simplest rig out of all the ones that we made was the one for the trampoline.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's what I was working on. Let me go to... I think it was in G1. Creo que sí. Oh, no. Yeah, there it is. Let me know if my audio levels are screwed up, because I genuinely don't know. I'm not, like, super experienced with this whole streaming thing. Yeah.
The simplest rig out of all the ones that we made was...
Did I already... I've been doing, like, Playblast exports of these. And then just kind of bringing them back over. No, that's not the one I need to duplicate. No. I've already got a version of this. I think I'm just going to run a quick Playblast. And then bring that over back into the main sequence. Oh shit. I need to go to render scene, then do sequence preview. This file is super jank. So the week 11 retrospective has been taking forever just because we've got a bunch of life stuff going on. 15/15 is done. Like, we finished all of the films in 15 weeks. Every film is done. But we did them like 3 years ago. So I've had to keep up the momentum of the first 15 weeks for the past 3 years. And it's just not possible. You know, I'm working, Genus is working, you know, we're moving around. We're not in the same spaces like we used to be. It's really hard to stay motivated for that long. Our original plan was to try and upload a film or a new retro every other couple of weeks, but we did not at all keep up with that momentum. Mostly down to me. I've had huge month gaps, like multiple month gaps in between uploading retrospectives. But we're trying to get the pace. It's just a matter of staying committed to goals that we happened to set 3 years ago. Stupid past sharpened Genus. There's stupid ideas. But yeah, a little fun working stream. Bum, 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 bum. Should probably schedule these. I think I'm gonna do these more regularly, at least until the actual film comes out. Because I would like feedback and people's input, because we're starting to get to the point with this retrospectives where everything needs to be a lot more polished. It's kind of a new paradigm of working. Let me see. Yeah, we're still in the middle of that Playbus. I wish I could have. I need to learn how to do more proper streaming stuff because I want to have like a little task thing in the corner. It's like, hey, here's the projects, part of the projects that we're working on today, so I can be more accountable. Let me move OBS over here so you guys don't have to see it. Should probably have a higher bitrate, but realistically, with my setup, that's not happening. Beep, beep. Man, oh man. I should really get back into making modular music, because I feel like that'd be a good vibe for streams. Because I could like kind of tune the music as I'm going, take a little break, mess around with my nodes. But I was never particularly good at modular, like generative music. Ooh, my PC's getting toasty. This is one of the things that we ran into on 15R15 so often, just the pain of waiting on stuff for projects. Because I'm just sitting here waiting for this thing to freaking render. This is lost time. It's not that much lost time. I'm doing this for like a couple minutes, and it's worth it because I can look back and see, did I do this correctly? Did I do this incorrectly? You know, but it's still super annoying with my ADHD brain. I just want to keep moving forward. Don't always get what I want, I guess. Maybe I'll turn on the AC while there's nobody here. I gotta find like a fun thing to do while we're waiting on these kinds of renders. Like, what would be the thing to just sort of occupy the dead space? I should maybe have like RetroArch going, play some Mario. That was always my thing back in the day whenever I was working on projects. When I was in high school, the school I went to, we had these jury projects, and, you know, I had, what am I trying to say? We had these jury projects. So basically at the end of the year, we'd get evaluated based on like all the stuff we did over the year and the one big project. So people would end up spending like months and months working on their thing. And I knew that if I was like watching a YouTube video or something, I'd immediately get exhausted and like not want to keep working. So I'd just play Super Mario on my SNES because it would be just entertaining enough that I could like focus my time on it and like feel rested, feel like I was doing something else, but wasn't so dead brain that I feel like I'm just spinning my wheels.
Probably the simplest
Oop. I need to move this over by like a couple frames. Oh, I have some dead space here. Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good. Everything's in the A sequence because I'm lazy and bad at managing stuff.
Probably the simplest rig out of all the ones that we made was the one for the trampoline. It really just consists of two controllers. Two controllers controlling two different shape keys on the object. One shape key can...
What if I added like a little camera move here? Yeah, I'll do like a little camera move. Let's go. I'm in pose mode. A subtle camera move can just add so much to a shot, but I tend to avoid them just because I feel like oftentimes camera moves are added erroneously. Like, I'd rather have a shot that can speak for itself and do its own thing than try and support it with a camera move that just feels like it's there to fill space. Sometimes it's good to fill space, though. Sometimes it's good to just let it ride. I think I'll add a key here. Oh. Add a key. Make sure those are Bezier. They should be Bezier. I think that's gonna look a lot nicer.
See much of it in the shot. Probably the simplest rig out of all the ones that we made was the one for the trampoline. It really
feels more intentional.
Probably the simplest rig out of all the ones that we made was the one for the trampoline. It really just consists of two controllers. Two controllers controlling two different shape keys on the object. One shape key controls the up and down of the center of the trampoline, of its springy platform, and the other controls the braking of the leg. There's also the root controller, which lets us rotate the trampoline so it can kind of compensate for the leg braking, but, you know, every rig has something like that. The more interesting part of the trampoline to me is the material we use for the springy part.
Oh yeah, I need to do some B-roll. That's what I was supposed to be doing. I guess I can exit out of this and just reduce the risk of me running out of memory and destroying my computer. I need to fix like my swap partition. You don't need this. 15 or 15, week 11. Animation, pre-pro. I guess it would be pre-pro trampoline. I'm really proud of how well we organized our files during 15 over 15. It's something that you don't hear a lot of people talking about when talking about animation, but it's so important to have good file organization because you get like deep into your project and you think, oh, everything's going to be fine. We made the freaking thing. We'll be okay. But, you know, you end up having to make a revision on your file, or you have to make some kind of like big change or adjustment. and just knowing where everything is becomes a lifesaver. Knowing where everything is, having backups, having things saved properly. This is not in the right place. I think I had a different version of this for the for the G sequence of the video. Yeah. Week 11 pre-pro, because I had to relink some of the textures because everything was based on the file organization for week 11, like the original week 11. What? Ooh, it still is broken. It's supposed to be baked in. I think it's this jute texture. Oh no, it's mad because I haven't killed external data, so let's clean up purge unused data. Why is this not working? Am I stupid? UDIM tiles, single image. Why is it set, why was it set as UDIM tiles? That's stupid. Oh yeah, because we have, man, I freaking love modern Eevee. Modern Eevee is beautiful. We love adaptive subdivision. Is this adaptive? Is it using adaptive? Yeah, it is. That's insane. Or no, it's not using adaptive. It's using regular additional subdiv. But still, like, that's awesome. Turn off optimal display. We've got viewport image displacement. I probably should change the interpolation on this, but it doesn't really matter. I'm not. This is retro. This isn't for a new film. I can be stupid. But yeah, you can see we've got transparency in those. It's just a generic jute texture that we used. Oh shit, how can I do 2 OBSs? Will it get mad? Am I allowed to have 2 OBSs? So this is the one that's running the stream. Let's see if it's gonna kill me. Screen capture. Capture my LG. And I can mute all the audio sources. And this is supposed to output to B-roll, which it's doing. Okay, yippee. Yippee! Okay, let's... Oh, I'm actually going to pause the music here for a sec, because I want to... Yeah. Something that I haven't really talked about in any of the videos that we've done is working to scale. So in every single one of our models that we make for 15/15, we always import our hero character as a scale object. We'll also tend to import another scale object that we had. Let me see if I can find it real quick. We use the Unreal generic model, which is what's the name of it? It's just kind of a base human mesh scaled to realistic human proportions to ensure that every single model that we make is going to be to scale when we bring it into the scene. We always do our models in separate files. So we'll have a model file for our character, a model file for like the trampoline or the cannon or the boxes. They'll all be separated out. And then only once we're done with those, we'll bring them into the scene where animation is happening, because we'll be working on them in parallel. Let me find the where is it week recordings. I know it's in miscellaneous and Quinn FBX reference. So yeah, we use the Unreal Quinn model as our primary reference object. So like right here, we would bring it in. This is like a screwed up version. Let me get the actual one that we used. I think this is the corrected one. Yeah, so this is the Unreal Quinn model that we would use as the reference object for all of our 15/15 models. So we would do our character models based on the Quinn object, which we have here scaled to a Z height of like 8 meters. It's not real, but it's just like a default scale size. And then we would adjust all of our models to like fit around this. So we do a character model based on the Quinn model. So like this guy, he's a super short dude. So I feel like this is kind of realistically his height in real life to a reference person. So we make that, and then we make our trampoline model in reference to this guy. So we just know everything is going to play nice to each other. Like it's very easy in 3D to like, you know, you're working on a model. Like, let's say we made this trampoline to like whatever size we want to make it to. Like, oh, we've modeled out all these parts and it looks really good and it's a source file, but then we bring it to the scene and see it relative to the character and like, oh, this scale is completely off. This thing is like way too big. In 3D, you don't have any like natural reference. Like your hand isn't in the scene. You can't see how big it is in comparison to your hand. You don't have like other people to like, you know, compare it to unless you intentionally bring them in. So that's an effort that we always made so that we wouldn't run into issues with object scale being weird. Okay, I'm gonna see about coming back to that later. Unable to add stream marker. That's annoying. Whatever. What was I getting at again? Oh yeah, I need to record B-roll for this. So how do I want to go about this? I think I know. Let me re-listen to this.
On top. It's really just, to me, is the material we used for the springy part on top. It's really just a flat plane, but in order to get it to look like a mesh of strings, we took advantage of opacity, displacement, and adaptive subdivision. The final rig is...
Okay, that's super easy. Let's start recording. Gonna do like a sped up version of this in our export. Okay. Super easy, super easy. would be really cool if somebody showed up and hung out with me in the stream chat. There we go. Here we have... Where did I put my Week 11 special B-roll? Here we go. A bookmark. As we'll be needing this a couple more times, I think.
It's still we used for this.
Bring this in a little bit.
Springy part on top. It's really just a flat plane, but in order to get it to look like a mesh of strings, we took advantage of opacity, displacement, and adaptive subdivision.
Okay, and we can... Let's do set speed. $400.
Me is the material we used for the springy part on top. It's really just a flat plane, but in order to get it to look like a mesh of strings, we took advantage of opacity, displacement, and adaptive subdivision. The final rig is the cannon, but there's
I think that's good. And we can get back to the project file. Oh my gosh. Oh my geez. Let's go back to this trampoline file. Like, this is all kind of an inaccurate view of what the project looked like, just because we're using a newer version of Blender for all this. We did 15 over 15 in Blender 2.8, I believe. Or no, we did it in 3.6. 2.8 was way earlier. Yeah, we did it in Blender 3.6 because that's just what they had installed on all of the school computers. Like, we messed around with newer versions. I think 4.0 came out around that time. There was like some forks that I used for doing what is it, screen space reflections before that was implemented into Eevee Next, and you know, really like became a solid thing. Hopefully this is going to open. Nope. Yeah, I remember when Eevee Next was first coming out. I think this is like a good bit before it became official. Despite how much I use Blender in my day-to-day, I'm not really a Blender nerd. Let's jump back to a sequence.
Final rig is the cannon, but there's really nothing about the cannon that you haven't heard in any of the other rigs. We've come a long way in our rigging journey. There have been plenty of times where...
Okay. I don't think I need to do anything with the cannon. I think I can just use some weak 11 footage for that, actually.
project. So we got the best of us, and you're taking your hand that you're new to the rigs. We've come a long way in our journey. There have been plenty of others. Come a long way in our
Right here. Shall I?
Any of the other rigs. We've come. The final rig is the cannon, but there's really nothing about the cannon that you haven't heard in any of the other rigs. We've come a long way in our
That'll be good. That'll do, that'll do. I dabble, do you? You want to start from here? I gotta add music, do sound design. There's a lot to do in the next few days.
Huh? Oh, I know where this is. This is the Week 11 set Schoolyard B2. I know this place. Yeah, the environments here were inspired heavily by the sets from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the Rankin Bass film. We tried to use assets that would give a sense of tactile feel to them.
Okay.
Project, there were a few other unique aspects worth talking about. This wasn't mentioned earlier during the pre-pro because I didn't have the first part of it, but we were actually supposed to do this using a technique called linear shape keys. This is a method of animating where you effectively model your character every single pose. Check out this video if you want to learn more about it. I'm not going to get too into it here.
I need to do the linear shape key demo.
Pipeline, not, but shape keys were just not it. Pipeline is crucial in 3D animation, and we had no idea how we'd go about creating a pipeline for shape keys. We didn't know how we'd manage animation assets, how we'd manage characters, keep things on model. It seemed like it would be too much, and instead of taking the risks, we decided to cut it off early. These kinds of uncomfortable decisions are ones that we have to make all the time.
I hate it when I just like give myself a bunch of black space because I don't feel like animating anything or coming up with an interesting shot.
Straight up 3D rigs, but we had multiple different rigs for this project, which is typically unusual. We'll usually just have character rigs, but in this case we had a few different props that needed specific.
I think I'll do some B-roll of me screwing around with the kid rig. I really like this model. This is like one of my favorite models that we have. Disabled. Let's use Seamless. It does look cooler. Auto Rig Pro. Everybody's gonna bug snacks. Oh, oh shit. That's good for B-roll, I think. Wait, did I not capture that? Oh shit. So this is Stream OBS. Stream OBS is still going. There's silly bee. Well, at least I can prepare this better for. messing with, even though I think a lot of the properties for messing around with this stuff only exist in AutoRig Pro. I forget how you just do like FK IK switching normally. This one has it. CH master root spine, CH arm. I need shoulder.l. Shoulder, arm, IK, forearm, IK. I guess I wouldn't be constrained by that. There we go. Do auto stretch on both of these just because I think that'll be better. Yeah, that looks better. Oh yeah, that's how it worked. I forgot that he just had 2 mouths. This is something about the week 11 kid rig that I just figured out for forever. No, this is something about the week 11 kid rig that I just remembered messing around with it. So you'll notice that in a lot of the shots, he'll have like a version of the mouth that's just a straight line and another version of the mouth that's like kind of a donut shape. And I saw these controls for that donut shaped rig in here, but I thought, like nowadays I would do like a mesh switch that would like switch between those 2 rigs depending on what I need. But in 15/15, apparently I was moving so fast and just didn't feel like coming up with that. So instead of having a switch that toggles between mouths, I just hit it inside of his head. So bro just has 2 mouths at all times. One is just like in his head. So you could just like grab it, wiggle it around. But that's the magic of 3D, man. That's movie magic. The illusion of motion, whatever. Isn't art beautiful? Yeah, no. Let's put that back inside of his head. Am I recording right now? No. Start recording. Okay. Okay, that's good B-roll. I think people will like that. I am actually capable of being silly goofy. oddly enough. I think here, this,
And we had no idea how
where did I go for straight up 3D rigs?
during the pre-pro because I didn't have the first part of it, but we were actually supposed to do this using character rigs, but in this case, 3D had multiple different rigs for this project, which is typically unusual. We just went with
Okay, let's put that here. Do set speed, set it to like 400. Let's make sure to save because it's been a while since I've saved.
we just went with straight up 3D rigs, but we had multiple different rigs for this project, which is typically unusual. We'll usually just have character rigs, but in this case, we had a few different props that needed specific rigs. The first
I think I want to keep more of this and just kind of put it early.
had a few different props, but in this case, we had a few different props that needed specific rigs. The animation at all. We just went with straight up.
I need to scale this. We can transform it over a little bit, I guess.
3D rigs.
Did I do that with my other B-roll? Yeah, I did. Or no. There we go. Isn't this riveting now?
Is how we ended up doing the animation at all. We just went with straight up 3D rigs, but we had multiple different rigs for this project, which is typically unusual. We'll usually just have character rigs, but in this case, we had a few different props that needed specific rigs. The first one is the ball. Balls are deceptively difficult to rig. They're a very simple shape, but there are a few constraints that can make them way easier to animate. We didn't do a proper rig for the ball. We kind of just use empties, which are objects without like mesh data inside of them or curves. It's a thing that you use a lot in 3D and visual effects. We have one empty object controlling the translation and scale of the ball, and another controlling the rotation of the ball. And we had no idea how we didn't have a workflow established for it. We knew how to do
Do the linear shape keys demo part. Control in, make a new file, do not save. And let's start recording. Let's do another cube. Put a skin modifier on that. Let's go to shape keys, turn off relative. We're going to turn on auto keying and set a keyframe. Set another keyframe. Duplicate, set the evaluation time. Hmm. Maybe I should learn how to do the thing before I try to do a demo on the thing. Shit. Shut off. Isn't this supposed to be... We've got the key for the absolute shape keyframe. Why can't I edit that? Why is that not an editable property? If I set it to be relative... Are these things like not properly supported anymore? Whatever. We're going to... I'm gonna stop recording and do a new one. Full and don't save. Start recording. We're going to delete everything, make a new cube. Go to shape keys. Add basis, add that. Then we're going to it's like super annoying. I can retime, but I can't like set the time. Do 20. And we're gonna go 30. And then we can add, why not get rid of you and then just add more? Or we can delete you, duplicate shape key, and then retime. Um, there we go, that kind of works. And that should be enough for a demo.
But shape keys were just not it. Pipeline.
Think that we can toss you here. And we can set speed once again to like 400. And let's see what the beginning of this is. Good. Methinks. Let me see if nobody wants to hang out with me in my stream.
This wasn't mentioned earlier. Beyond the environments on this project, there were a few other unique aspects worth talking about. This wasn't mentioned earlier during the pre-pro because I didn't have the first part of it, but we were actually supposed to do this using a technique called linear shape keys. This is a method of animating where you effectively model your character every single pose. Check out this video if you want to learn more about it. I'm not going to get too into it here. The only thing that you really need to know about it is that it was too much. We decided against doing shape key based animation.
That looks good.
Is that it was too much. We decided against doing shape key based animation. We didn't have a workflow established for it. We knew how to do 3D, but shape keys were just not it. Pipeline is crucial in 3D animation, and we had no idea how we'd go about creating a pipeline for shape keys.
Okay.
We didn't know how we'd manage animation assets, how we'd manage characters, keep things on model. It seemed like it would be too much, and instead of taking the risks, we decided to cut it off. We just went with straight up 3D rigs, but we had multiple different rigs for this project, which is typically unusual.
Okay, I think I'm good for now. I think that I'm in a good spot to take a break. I still have a lot of this video to do. Like you can see the video timeline. We're about like 75% of the way there with 3D assets. Somewhere in that ballpark, and we still have a whole bunch of scene to do. And there are still some holes back in here that have not been filled in. But things are making good progress. We've got all the dialogue. We need to do some music, sound design. But things are going well. We're going to hit the deadline. I think we're going to be good. Okay. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna go get myself some food. Bye.